Yo, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. And today we got the new version 4.4 second phase banners that we're going to be discussing on whether you should pull or not. We have Xiao, Yae Miko, and much more. Now, before we get started with the video, make sure you guys hit that like button, as well as subscribe to my channel for more type of content. Don't forget to turn the notification bell on so you guys don't miss out on my latest uploads or never go live on my streams. Alright, now let's get on to the disclaimer. Everything I'm about to talk about in this video is all intended for meta purposes or to those who are unsure what to spend their Primo Gems on. If you like these rated characters by design or gameplay, then feel free to disregard everything I say in this video and go for the characters you like. Remember, this is a gacha game, so you should always pull for your favorite characters. And now let's check out the banners. Alright, so we got Xiao and Yae Miko as the 5 stars, and for the 4 stars we got Xinyan, Ningguang, and Yaoyao. Alright, let's start with the 4 stars from top to bottom. Starting with Xinyan, she's probably the strongest 4 star. Heck, I'm gonna say this, the strongest power damage dealer in the game. Her rock and roll energy absolutely decimates all enemies on field. She's a brute force to deal with, and if you thought her damage wasn't enough, she also can self-sustain herself with a tanky shield. Overall, she's just so incredibly powerful to the point where she is a must build in our dreams. Honestly, all that was just a joke. To be honest, she's really not that great. However, for actual positives about her, her main advantage is being power, so she has vast amounts of teammates to run with. And her constellations definitely help out with her damage. Otherwise, I really wouldn't pull such build for her unless you like her. Up next is Ningguang. She is a Geo DPS in a variety of ways, such as main DPS, sub DPS, or burst damage dealer. Great thing about her is that she is a catalyst user, so you will always be dealing Geo damage, especially since Geo has no form of application. And when she's buffed, she can actually deal a decent amount of damage. Now, that may all sound good on paper. However, she does have some gameplay mechanic issues, such as missing all of her shards from her elemental burst to your target, or normal attack combinations is a bit clunky. Personally, she is a high risk reward character. In other words, you will need to be more cautious on how to use her. If these issues are no problem for you, then I believe she's a very solid damage dealer, and especially with her constellations, she will get better. She's also kind of a decent battery for Geo teams. Overall, she's fine as a unit, and I will go for her if you like her playstyle. And lastly, we have Yaoyao. She is still amazing. Her main role is Dendro healing, which is highly useful. There are currently only 2 Dendro healers, which means she is valuable. Especially as a 4 star, she's a lot more obtainable for everyone, and she's actually good. I think her main downside is probably her Dendro application, especially if you are just purely relying on her off-field elemental skill. Her application is pretty limited. But when you get her burst, her Dendro application plus healing gets quadrupled. Other than that, she is a great character and is definitely someone I would consider pulling for, especially if you are lacking a Dendro sustain. And those are the 4 stars. Now let's move on to the 5 stars. Up next is Xiao. He is an animal DPS well known for his powerful plunge attacks, and I will say he's gotten a lot better since. A while back, Xiao's main issue was enhancing his animal damage, which animal as an element is naturally not an offensive type. Animal tends to be more for support oriented, but that's what makes Xiao unique. Now he's definitely gotten one of the best treatments in the game, which was having his own artifact set plus Farzan. And potentially, if you do get Xinyan, he might raise his damage ceiling even further. Right now, it's too early to say what his damage potential could look, but with all the buffs he has been receiving, he has limitless possibilities. I say it's promising and something you should consider if you like his pogo stick gameplay. However, the fact is he is the least versatile animal unit, which overall makes him very restrictive to use. Nonetheless, if you love his playstyle, I would say go for it. And finally, we have Yae Miko. She is a electro off-field sub DPS. She's also in a similar position with Xiao, but not that much. In other words, she has gone slight buffs. Her main change is that she finally has her own artifact set that actually makes her pretty strong. She also has a lot more teams she could fit into. Overall, she's definitely gotten better, but in my opinion, she is still for those who prefers her playstyle or not. Although she is strong in terms of DPS, she will always compete with someone like Xiao, which they basically do about the same thing. Both have their own pros and cons, but Yae Miko factually has gotten better. And those are the character banners, so now let's move on to the weapon banner. And here's a weapon banner, which from first glance, this looks a bit better than the previous, kind of. Well, like usual, let's break down all the rated weapons, starting with the 4 stars from right to left. Starting with the Lithic Blade, it's basically the same exact passive as the Lithic Spear, which in my opinion, it's slightly worse than the Spear. However, what's great about this passive is that it mainly buffs based on how much leeway characters is on your team, and luckily there are a lot of leeway characters that are really good. So in a way, this passive did save this weapon, but still, I would prefer the Lithic Spear over Lithic Blade due to more usage. Otherwise, it's very solid. Next up is Favonius Lance. I probably explained this weapon over 1,000 times. It's probably one of the best Favonius weapons, again because of its being a polearm. Since it's a Favonius weapon, the passive where it grants extra team energy is so valuable it makes this weapon top tier. I will highly recommend to get this, and of course, the more refinements, the better. Then we have Witsith. It's a great catalyst with an insanely high temporary stat value. It provides a massive buff such as the attack percent or elemental damage bonus or elemental mastery. But like how Genshin works, you can only have one of the buffs at random, and the buff only lasts for 10 seconds, so realistically, a powerful stat stick with limited duration. Still powerful and works on many catalyst DPS. Up next is Lion's Roar, solid attack stat stick with extra pyro/electro damage boost. For now, it's great on pyro/electro DPS, including reactions. As long as you're able to maintain pyro or electro application, this weapon's damage further increases. Finally, we have Stringless, great bow with EM substat and elemental skill and burst damage boost. This is a no-brainer choice for sub DPS characters. Pretty much all of the sub DPS can use this weapon. Obviously, with elemental mastery scaling, this weapon's value increases. And those are the 4 stars. Now let's move on to the 5 stars. Alright, so starting off with Kagura's Verity. Now, as you can see here for the stats, we got a base attack of 608 and crit damage at 66.2%. So pretty nice in terms of stat value. Both are pretty mid-range. Now for the passive here called Kagura's Dance of the Sacred Sakura. Gains the Kagura Dance effect when using an elemental skill, causing the elemental skill damage of the character wielding this weapon to increase by 12% for 16 seconds. That's a while. Max 3 stacks. This character will gain 12% all elemental damage bonus when they possess 3 stacks. Pretty straightforward and very nice. Overall, a powerful elemental skill damage boost, and with 3 stacks, you get elemental damage bonus. This is obviously great on Yae Miko, but this could also work on some other characters such as Nahida, which coincidentally, she is going to be running before these banners drop. If you have Nahida and you end up for some reason pulling on his banner and obtaining the weapon, this is one of Nahida's best weapons. Other than that, you can still use this Catalyst as a crit damage stat stick with a bit of boost to your elemental skill damage. Overall, a great weapon for Catalyst users. And lastly, we have the Primordial Jade Wing Spear. Now for the stats here, it has a base attack of 674 and a secondary stat is crit rate at 22.1%. So in terms of stat value balance, the base attack is a lot higher in terms of stat value versus the crit rate. Very high base attack, but a little bit lower on the crit rate. It's still good though. Now for the passive here, Eagle's Spear of Justice. On hit, increases attack by 3.2% for 6 seconds. Max 7 stacks. This effect can only occur once every 0.3 seconds. While in possession of the maximum possible stacks, damage dealt is increased by 12%. This is still a solid weapon. Obviously, this is Xiao's best slot, but luckily this weapon can work on a lot of other characters. Just imagine this as like a crit rate and attack stat stick. So high in terms of stat value, but the passive does take a while to proc depending on which character you use on this. If you can maintain at full stacks, this is a great weapon. However, the main issue I have with this weapon is it's not a limited gacha weapon. This weapon is from the standard banner, which means you can always get this later. Otherwise, it's a decent stat stick. And those are the banners we just broke down. Now for my overall thoughts on are these banners worth to pull for. For the character banners, honestly, this seems like an easy skip. Unless, of course, you want Xiao or Yae Miko. Otherwise, this is probably one of the worst banners they put out, and there's a reason for that. The reason I say this is an easy skip is mainly because of all the rated 4 stars here on this banner will be available in the free rewarded 4-star lyric character selection in the upcoming Land to Right event. Yes, you can only pick one, but to be honest, out of the 3, I would 100%, 1000% pick up Yaoyao out of the 3. Then for the weapon banner, it's not bad. The main downside for me, in my opinion, is again that the Primordial Jade Wing Spear is right up here when it's a permanent 5-star weapon. To me, this is automatically the values pulling on this banner. However, both weapons are good, and if you are willingly wanting to weigh out on this banner, then I won't stop you. But since these are second phase banners and you're considering on pulling, I will wait till the next live stream for version 4.5 where they will officially announce Chiyoti's kit and the next upcoming banners. And that is everything. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys hit that like button, as well as subscribe to my channel for more type of content. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell on so you guys don't miss out on my latest uploads or never go live on my streams. And that's pretty much everything all I got. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay epic and peace out.